Hi, there are spoilers for Undertale ahead, so this video won't make sense if you haven't played it, so you've been warned. Alright, the average attention span of people on this app is like 30 seconds, so I'm gonna hop right into it. This video will be split into three parts: what a meta-narrative is, Flowey, and what Undertale is trying to say with its meta-narrative. A meta-narrative, in the context of fiction, is a piece of media's way of acknowledging the fact that it's fiction, or that your existence as a consumer of said media. A good example of this is Deadpool's fourth wall breaking. He acknowledges you, the viewer slash reader slash player of his story. A good example of this is Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. Personally, I don't like this. I don't think it's a very good Deadpool story, but it's a good example of a meta-narrative because of how blunt it is, so we'll use it. The story of Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe is that Deadpool is being forced to kill the Marvel Universe by the writers, and he hates it. The book ends with him killing his writers and then saying he'll come for you. The moral of this meta-narrative is how weird it is that we love to see our quote-unquote favorite characters go through unimaginable trauma, and it's a good exploration of the way we consume media. So that is your answer. Now, on to the next section about Flowey. Flowey's character pretty much carries the meta-narrative, and even the regular narrative, on his non-existent back. To start, he's the main villain of the story, and the perfect mirror for the player. And you heard me right. Not Frisk, the main character, but the player. Because just like you, he once had the power to save and load the game. And that, combined with being unable to feel love, means he's in the exact position you're in, except he can't just play another game. This is his whole world. Except to him, it's just sets of numbers and lines of dialogue. Because as much as you might say you love, let's say, Papyrus, you don't. You like his writing. But if you play the game enough times, then you'll see everything he has to offer, and then he'll just repeat himself for eternity. So one day you say, okay, how will Papyrus act if I kill him? And then you see, and you're back at square one, because now you know what he will do if you kill him. So you start killing people around him, you see how he reacts. Then you exhaust all of your options till you go and kill everyone and get the Geno route. And while that could be the story of your time with Undertale, that was the story of Flowey. He kept doing different things until he had no more options. So he just kept replaying the Geno route over and over and over again until you appeared, and now he can't save and load anymore. All of that is to say, when you do a Geno route, you act just like the villain of the whole story. Now, let's see what the game is trying to tell us with this. The message of the meta-narrative on Undertale is that re-experiencing your favorite media takes the fun out of said media. And that's why the Geno route ends with you permanently wrecking your copy of the game, because that way, even if your second playthrough of Undertale is the Geno route, you still get the message that when you exhaust all options, the game becomes worse for it. And that's why the Geno route is the least fun of the routes, because that's what happens when you replay your game again and again and again. That's why the Geno route is looked down on by everything and everyone in the game, because you already played Undertale. Don't you have anything better to do? Hey, so these are my final thoughts. Partly because I realized the video was going to be way too short if I just did what I put in scripted. And B, because I actually did want to add some more stuff to the video. So, yeah, Undertale, its meta-narrative is a lot better than just Flowey, right? And I mostly talked about Flowey in this video because he's the most obvious representation of it, and in my opinion, he's the best representation of it. But there are some other, meta elements that I wanted to, shout out, right? So I briefly mentioned this in the Flowey part, saving and loading. The fact that Toby managed to get saving and loading into his game's lore instead of it just being a gameplay feature is insane to me. I'm honestly like shocked. Like, good on you, Toby. That's great. Another thing is Kara. Kara is also a good mirror for the player. Kara kind of represents your want to level up and progress in games. And I think that is one part where Flowey never really represented in terms of the gamer mentality. He only really represented someone's desire to see all endings, a completionist. But Kara, in a meta context, represents someone's desire to level up and get to the end and finish it and be like good, be stronger in a game. And I think Flowey they pretty much represent polar opposite sides of gaming. Flowey represents completionism and Kara represents speed running. And I think it's a good double a double whammy, because you got Flowey, where if you are the type of person to go for all different endings in a game, you have him calling you out for it and also egging you on. And you have Kara, where if you just want to get done as fast as possible, be as efficient as possible, they represent you. Where they just all they want to do is get stronger. And I think that's really, it's good that Toby managed to get both sides of gaming in this. I think another meta element that I didn't want to talk about in this video, because he's been over-talked to death. Like seriously, no one even really understands his character anymore because of how much of a meme he's become. But Sans, I think, is a good part of the meta narrative, where he's not actually part of it, but he's someone else looking in. He doesn't understand he's in a video game. Common misconception. Well, maybe it was back in 2016, not really anymore, but he doesn't know he's in a video game, but he can read people well enough that he can tell how many times he's killed you, for example. Even if he does have a limit with that, after 12 deaths, it starts getting foggy and just the same amount of frustration. But it's Sans is he represents, if Flower represents completionist and Kara represents speedrunning, then Sans is someone from the game looking in and seeing just how freakish that is from the perspective of the game. I think that is the true greatness of Sans' character in the meta perspective, because he's the only one that really knows. That's all for characters I didn't mention. One thing I do want to say is the title is that Undertale's meta narrative is unmatched, and I do believe it's the best one, but saying it's unmatched doesn't quite do some other games justice. Doki Doki Literature Club, that is the game that has a good meta narrative. Even if the meta narrative is the whole narrative, I still think that it's really cool and is another good deep dive into gaming psychology. And really just freak psychology, because it kind of just dives into how weird dating sims are, right? And obviously another good game is Deltarune. Deltarune I actually prefer over Undertale, but meta-wise I think Undertale's better. But that's probably just because it's out. So who knows? Maybe by chapter 7 this video will be outdated, but I still like it. I still think I still think Undertale's meta narrative is very good. That's pretty much it for my like post recording script building thoughts. Hey, made it to the end of the video. Congrats. This video is kind of short because half I'm lazy, half because I'm only talking about and explaining the moral of the meta narrative. But I am really passionate about Undertale and its meta narrative. From Flowey telling you not to reset at the end of Pacifist route to him calling out people watching the Jenna route on YouTube. This game is full of heart, and I won't ever forget it. So, thanks for listening to me ramble. Bye.